Hi, I'm Christian.
And I'm Paige, and today we're talking about worship. I think as Christ followers, we sometimes use the word worship as if everybody knows what it means. But Christian, how would you explain worship to other people?
Well, generally speaking, the word worship means to show your love and praise to God, but that can look different for different people.
Absolutely. Well, let's watch today's God story to learn more on how Jesus was worshipped after he was born.
Spring is here. I got so excited, I wet my plants. Hey everyone, it's Marshall. It's great to see you again. One time when I was in Africa, we were out in a village, all in a circle, and we just started praying in different languages. We were singing. It was just so amazing to feel God's presence there. And it didn't matter who was praying or in what language, but we felt the presence of God together. God's kingdom is so different than any other kingdom of this world. Kings are born, they die, they come, they go. But God's kingdom, the one King Jesus, reigns forever. And the cool part with Jesus being our King is that we can worship him and be close with him. So the big idea is, let's worship King Jesus. So we started this series a few weeks ago in the book of Daniel. And in the book of Daniel, we heard about this new kingdom that was going to come and that there is a new king coming. And then we went to the book of Matthew and we heard this long list of names that were leading us to this new king, and his name was going to be Jesus. And then we were told about the story of how Mary and Joseph learned about the name Jesus, and they were going to name their son that. After Jesus' birth, we hear this story of these wise men coming to visit Jesus from the east. You remember those wise men from Daniel? These guys would be similar to that. Then the wise men asked, "Where is this child to be born, the King of the Jews? We want to come and worship him." When King Herod heard this, he was like, "What? Not in my place. I'm the only king around here." So King Herod called together all the religious rule makers and saying, "Where is this rescuer, this Messiah, this king? Where was he born?" Let's read what it says. "In Bethlehem in Judea," they said, "for this is what the prophet wrote. And you, O Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are not least among the ruling cities of Judah. For a ruler will come from you, who will be the shepherd for my people Israel." All right, so let's walk through this. The chief priests knew that the prophecy said the king would be born in Bethlehem. So King Herod talked to the wise men and kind of tricked them to go find the king for him. So King Herod told the wise men, "Go find this child king so I could come worship him too," which was a total lie. We know he was only asking where he was so that he could get rid of him. So the wise men left King Herod and followed the star and then found Jesus. And they were full of joy. Then the wise men went to the house. And now I know you hear the story of the wise men being at the nativity scene, but that wasn't necessarily the case. So the wise men showed up when Jesus wasn't necessarily a baby. He was a child. And they came and bowed down and worshiped him. Then they opened up their case and gave him gold, frankincense, and myrrh. You see, in that day and age, those three gifts were given to kings to recognize that they were kings. They were showing that they believed Jesus is the king. Oh, and don't forget, they didn't go back to King Herod. They had a dream from God and knew that King Herod tricked them, so they just went back to their country. Even though the wise men didn't fully know who Jesus was, they did recognize that he was an important king. In fact, they recognized before most others did. And what did they do? They worshiped him. This is a great example for us. We should come and worship Jesus. So in this coming year, guys, let's worship King Jesus in how we live, in how we show love, and how we care for others. All right, guys, have a happy new year. It's great to see you, great to be with you. I'll see you later, though.
I find it fascinating that the wise men knew that a king was born, and even though they found him in very simple circumstances and not in a palace or a place where you would expect a king to be, they trusted the star and gave Jesus gifts that was meant for a king.
Yeah, they worshipped him by giving him treasures without even fully understanding who he was.
Well, we may not have gold or myrrh, but we can worship Jesus with what we have.
Absolutely. And that can be in the way we live or how we love others. We looked at different ways some of our friends worship Jesus. Watch this.
I don't know about you, but growing up, I always thought of worship as singing songs or playing music. As I grew older, I realized that I can actually worship God through the way that I live. I can worship God through anything that I do. And I was thinking about the people who have previously shared their stories with us. People like Nathan, and how he worships God through the things that he does. Let's watch this.
I definitely feel a connection with God when I cook, because that's where my creativity comes from. My passion, my talent for cooking comes from God. And then the skills that I've developed in cooking, use it as worship. I just believe that God smiles down when you're using all your talents, whatever it is.
Christina suffered from an eating disorder. And after having a really tough time, God helped her see herself the way that he sees her, and it changed her life. Christina now sees that dancing is a great way of praising and thanking God for what he's done in her life. Let's watch this.
I really felt like God loved me back to life, but that was a process. And, I really felt there were many steps in that and many challenges. Like I had to stop dieting and just let go of trying to be this perfect weight. I had to stop criticizing my body out loud and, telling myself I'm fat and telling myself, I need to lose weight. And I really noticed a difference when I let go of those things. When I stopped that negative talk, I felt like freer, lighter. And I also realized that I had to change my relationship with food and with exercise. It was so negative in the past and associated with just guilt and fear. And I really started to see it differently as worship and as enjoyment. And God just gave me the grace to enjoy those gifts that he gave us and to just really live life to the fullest. It was a long journey, but when I look back, as dark as the darkness was and as destructive as the self-hatred was and believing those lies, the love of God and the truth that set me free was even more powerful and did more in my life than I could ever imagine. God says that he gives us beauty instead of ashes, and instead of sadness, our joy can be double portion, and I've definitely experienced that. And the future is way brighter than the past.
Jordan is a rapper and uses words and music to show his love for Jesus. You don't want to miss this.
For a long stretch of my life, I believed I didn't have a story. Not only has God opened my eyes up to see the truth that I play an important role in his story, but he's also given me a platform through my gifts to share my story with others.
Yeah, I'm praying, petitioning, chasing, envisioning days when the gray will switch to a greater display of vividness. When every individual stricken, facing addiction is filled with an inexplicable fix of grace and upliftment to get them high. Throw them a rope when the pressures rise. Mourners testify, hoping Jehovah will never die. Those who quest to find treasure will know that it rests inside.
We can worship God by singing and praying and showing our love and respect to him. But remember, we can worship God every day of our lives by loving others and by becoming the people that he created us to be. Peace.
Yo, Jay, tell them what we doing, man. I'm dreaming. My homie gon' get saved, cause I know he's coming back up. I'm dreaming.
That was awesome. So Nathan worships God through his cooking, Christina worships God through dancing, and Jordan worships God through his music.
That's amazing. Well, it's time to break into our small groups now, and let's see what this would look like in our own stories.
Peace out.